Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am very excited to do because we are doing a full face of products that YouTube made me buy. I love these videos. I've seen them floating around for years, but I've never actually done one myself. But heaven knows, I have a lot of products that YouTube has made me buy over the years. I've been watching YouTube beauty videos for about 10 years now, and I would be willing to bet that over the course of those 10 years, 70% of the makeup purchases I have made have come off of someone else's recommendation. Is that a good thing or a bad thing or both? I probably would say both. But that is what we are going to be doing today. I have gone through and selected a full face worth of makeup products that YouTube has made me buy. And I've got to say, you guys, all of them were hits. These are all things that I absolutely have fallen in love with. So I hope that you guys are excited about this video. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you will consider subscribing if you have not done that yet. Of course, if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified anytime I upload a new video, be sure to hit that notification bell. But with that said, let's go ahead and put on some makeup products that YouTube made me buy. So I want to explain to you guys in a little bit more detail how this video is going to go. So I went through my subscription list on YouTube and wrote down all the people I've been following for a while that I know have influenced me to buy things over the years. And then I just started to write down from memory some things specifically I remember those people influencing me to buy. And then I went through that list and just picked out a full face worth of makeup. So as we are going through each of the categories, I of course will tell you guys who influenced me to buy it, but we do have a lot to get into. So let's start off with a primer. You guys probably know if you've been watching me for a while that I'm not personally big into primers, so it might not be a surprise to you that pretty much every primer that I own was bought because of someone's influence or it came in BoxyCharm. That's pretty much the only two reasons that I have primers in my collection. But one that I especially remember being influenced to buy is the Smashbox Primerizer. I mostly attribute this primer to Andrea here on YouTube. Andrea Matillano, I never quite know how to say her name, but I know there's quite a few other people that have raved about this as well. I know specifically that I have heard Alana Davison talking about this primer. I know the Anna Edit has talked about this primer. I do really like this primer. I just think it's a little bit on the pricey side. I want to say this though, Andrea did say in one of her videos after I'd purchased the full size that it's actually more cost effective to buy two of the mini sizes because I think they're only $15 a piece for a half an ounce. If you buy two and do the math, that would be $30 for a full ounce. If you buy the full ounce bottle, it's I think $42. So I wish I would have heard that before I went out and bought the full size. I mean, this thing I've had for quite a while and I'm not even halfway done with it, so I really need to start using that more often. Let's move into foundation, and the foundation that I'm going to be using today is the Misha BB Cream. Can you guys guess who influenced me to buy this one? It would definitely be Jessica Braun. So I know she's been talking about the Misha BB Cream for quite a while on her channel, and this is a relatively recent try for me. I tried this for the first time in the fall of this past year, 2019, but I do really, really love this product. I love the coverage, I love the finish. It does have a strong smell, but the smell doesn't tend to bother me as far as making me break out or giving me any problems. I know some people it does bother though, so keep that in mind if this is something you guys have thought about. It is pretty heavily scented. Oh, I'm having some skin issues today, you guys. I am worried that the e.l.f. concealer is breaking me out because I have a massive spot here, although this one I think started before I started trying the e.l.f. concealer, but this big one right here on my nose, I'm also getting a new one right here on my chin. And we're talking deep kind of cystic breakouts, and I don't get those very often, so I really think it's a concealer that's breaking me out. And the only new products I've really tried recently, besides the Wet n Wild foundation, but I don't think it's that one because it's not breaking me out on my cheeks, but it's breaking me out where I put concealer, which is like on the side of my nose and on my chin. So it's probably either the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealer or this Revlon Candid Concealer, which I've kind of been simultaneously trying those two out. So I need to give them both a break and let my skin clear, and then I guess go back into one at a time and figure it out through the process of elimination. But I kind of hate to do that to my skin because these kind of zits take like 2 weeks to heal on me. So I hate to deliberately give myself breakouts in order to figure out what's causing it. Got a little greedy trying too many things out at once. Moving on to concealer, this is a Tati made me buy it, and it's the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I've had this concealer for, I want to say about a year now. I really should probably get rid of this thing, but I am so close to finishing this up, and I do really love this concealer. Bought it after Tati raved about it a couple of years ago, I think, and I do really love it. I also grabbed this concealer, which is a pot concealer from Catrice, which this one's kind of interesting. I wouldn't say this is a Tati made me buy it. I picked this up at random at some point, but didn't really use it. until Tati talked about this being one of her favorite concealers from the year. So I pulled it back out and started using it and realized that I do actually love this concealer as well. I especially love this one for days when I'm in a hurry and I just want to pop something quick on my under eye area. So easy just to put a little bit of that on your finger, tap it in, and be done. I do like using a more traditional concealer though when I want to be a little bit more precise. Maybe have a little bit more control, a little bit more coverage. And by the way, I am in shade number 20. Bless those of you that struggle with skin issues. I have had times in my life where I've had skin issues when it comes to like cystic acne and breakouts. I'm just taking a little bit of the Catrice on these really big blemishes right here. For the most part, my skin has really settled down when it comes to breakouts over the last 6 years, so I'm fortunate that I don't typically deal with big breakouts. So when they come back, it's just a good reminder of how blessed I have been. I mean, don't get me wrong, I complain about plenty of other things on my skin. I have melasma, I have wrinkles, but I'm grateful that I don't often struggle with breakouts anymore. Knock on wood, right? We all know that your skin can definitely change. All right, now I'm gonna go in with some powder. You guys probably all know that I'm not a big fan of powder. I don't typically powder my entire face, and when I do powder, I only selectively powder. But believe it or not, one of the very first products that I would attribute YouTube to making me buy is this right here. This is the RCMA No Color Powder, and this one I have to attribute to Jaclyn Hill making me buy. Now, I actually don't follow Jaclyn Hill very much, and I haven't for a couple of years. Granted, I don't know that she posts a whole lot anymore, but when I first started following people on YouTube, she was one that I did often follow, and I often would buy her recommendations, and this was one of them. I'm just gonna set this on my forehead. Then I'm just gonna add a little bit more to these spots that I just covered to try and get them to stay covered. But as much as I'm not a powder person, I do love this powder. If you are not into a powder that does anything other than just slightly set down your makeup a little bit and mattify just a tiny bit, this is such a good one for that. It's just a really subtle, lightweight powder. I don't use it often, but when I do want a powder, this is still probably one of the first ones that I'll go for. Let's finish off with the cheeks and the complexion. The next thing I have to attribute to YouTube making me buy is the Milk Makeup Bronzer Stick. And I'm so grateful that YouTube made me buy this because you guys probably know how much I love this product. There's probably a couple people I could attribute to making me buy this product. Most notably Kelly Gooch, because she absolutely loves this and talks about it all the time. But I think I've also heard Shelby Wilson talk about this. I've heard Arna Elaine talk about this product. Maybe even Jessica Braun, so there's probably a couple people that I could say made me buy this, but it is one of my favorite products in my entire makeup collection right now. It's interesting, one thing I was noticing as I was going through my list of YouTube made me buy it products, there's certain people that when they recommend a specific category of makeup, I tend to be more likely to buy that category off of their recommendation than maybe someone else's. And I don't know if that's something that's very intentional on my part, or if it just comes from maybe they recommended something at one point, I bought it and it ended up working out for me. So then anytime they recommend another cheek product or lipstick or blush or something, I feel like it's more likely to work out for me. But I noticed that with quite a few of these categories, like with Jessica Braun and Taylor Wynn, they tend to be the ones that influence me to buy foundations and blushes and bronzers. Whereas like Tati influences me to buy a lot of concealers. Allie Glines influences me to buy a lot of lip products. I just feel like there's categories that certain people have more sway when it comes to what I actually end up purchasing. And I never noticed that until I sat down to plan this video. And speaking of that, moving into highlighter, one of the people that influences me the most in the highlighters that I purchase is Samantha March. There's actually quite a few highlighters in my collection that I can attribute her to making me buy. Two of those being Flexitarian, which is one of my favorites. Also the Natasha Denona Super Glow, which I absolutely love. But the one, of course, I had to include is the Ofra and Samantha March collaboration highlighter. And I have to say, you guys, every one of the highlighters that she's influenced me to buy, I've absolutely fallen in love with. So we're gonna go in with this one today. I know mine looks a little ridiculous, but this is such a beautiful, beautiful highlighter. And I'm so glad that I finally tried out the Ofra highlighter formula, because it's one of those products that I've had my eye on because people have talked about it for years, but I just never did it until it came to this highlighter, and I'm so glad that I did because I absolutely love this one. Now for blush. The blush I decided to go with is this one right here. This is the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur Blush in the color Blurred Buff. This one is a Taylor Wynn Made Me Buy It. Now again, there were a couple people talking about these blushes pretty highly on YouTube when they first came out, and I had my eye on them at that point, but I remember Taylor talking about this specific color, and as soon as she recommended it, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm adding that to my cart, and that very next day I went out and bought this thing, and I absolutely love it. It is such a good blush formula and blush color. If you like that kind of blush that almost mimics a bronzer kind of color, you will absolutely love this one. It is so beautiful, layered on top of your bronzer. It just like pairs so perfectly with any bronzer. And honestly, you could use it on its own as well if you just want to skip bronzer altogether and just use this to kind of warm up and give your cheeks some color. This isn't necessarily a cream, but I also wouldn't say it's like a cream to powder. It's kind of a very unique formula actually, but I love this stuff. Okay, we're gonna move into brows, and I decided to pick this product. This is the e.l.f. brow pencil. This one you guys probably know I've been using for years, and this is one that Emily Noel made me buy, and I'm so grateful to her for recommending this brow product because it is by far one of my most repurchased makeup products in my entire collection. I love this thing. It does a good, quick job. It's so incredibly affordable and a definite staple in my routine for sure. Granted, if I'm wanting to have a better looking brow, I do prefer to use a slim brow pencil, but on days when I just want to be really quick and just fill them in and not worry too much about it, this one just gets the job done so quickly. Now I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit and we will do the eyes. Guys, this is a little bit tricky. I hope I'm not too bright. We're going to leave it there. Okay, so eyeshadow primer. This is one that I'm going to have to say YouTube in general made me buy, and it's the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I feel like this is one of those OG YouTube made me buy it kind of products. I honestly don't think this is the best eyeshadow primer out there, but if you were watching YouTube videos 10 years ago, YouTube probably made you buy this as well. Now for eyeshadow palettes. So I decided to go with Kathleen Lights made me buy this. There's actually quite a few eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection that Kathleen has influenced me to buy. It doesn't take a lot of raving from someone to convince me to buy an eyeshadow palette, but for today's video I decided to go with the Kathleen Lights Dream Street palette. I thought about maybe going with her So Jaded palette, but this is kind of like the original. Kathleen made us buy it, you know. And it's actually been a while since I've used this palette, and it is still one of my favorites. So for today's look, I really want to kind of have this shimmery sort of whitish teal be kind of the star of the show. But I also kind of want to use just this warm brown, maybe this deep brown, and a tiny bit of this dark teal color right here. We're just going to kind of wing it and see what we come up with. But I'm going to start off by going into this shade in the corner right here, the more neutral transition shade, and we're going to just start building that up above the crease. I totally had like a black eye booger in my corner. I'm sorry you had to stare at that. I hate when I'm editing and I see those. They always kind of gross me out. Okay, now I'm going to take my Juvia's Place small buffer brush, and with that same color, I'm just going to run that all along the lower lash line. So now I actually want to take this kind of teal shimmery color. I thought about going with the matte color, but I think I want to go with the shimmer and put that just on the outer kind of third of my eyelids. So I'm going to take my Wayne Goss number 18 brush, and we're just going to add a little bit of this to the tip right there, and I'm going to just slightly pat that on just this outer third of my lid. And once I have that placed down, I'm just going to kind of feather that over towards the center and up slightly through the crease a little bit. Just don't want too much of this color because I don't want my eye look today to be too dark. My son's cello concert is actually tonight, and it's not a formal event. I know that sounds kind of formal, but junior high orchestra. It's in the gym. It's not very formal. So I don't want my makeup to look too smoky and crazy. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more of that same color just right at the lash line, because I want most of the depth to be concentrated right here by the lash line. With what's left on the brush, I'm just going to pull that in slightly past the halfway mark. Now I'm going to go into the dark brown color right here. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of this on my Morphe M507, and I just want to deepen out this outer V just a tiny bit with this color. This should also help kind of fix any sort of patchiness from packing that color on right there. There's not much, but there's just a tiny bit right here at the corner. And I'm just kind of putting that in like a C shape from the tip of the lash line up through that outer corner right there. Then with what's left on the brush, I'm going to very lightly run that under the lower lash line. Alright, now I'm going to go into the corner sort of silvery green shade right here, and I'm just going to tap that all over the inner 2/3 of my lid. And when I use this palette, I usually go for the rose golds, which I do love, but I feel like this is an underutilized shade in this palette. Oh, isn't it so pretty? It's not overly colorful, but it gives you just like that touch of color and sparkle. A little bit of a cool tone, kind of champagne and green. I think it's so beautiful. Love that. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my Morphe M504 brush, and I'm going to take a tiny bit of this transition shade on the very tip of this brush and just run it lightly right above my crease. And now I'm going to go back into my Juvia's Place small buffer brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of this shimmery teal color and just run the tiniest bit of this right here on this outer third of the lash line. I don't want to pull this in too far because I do not like dark colors all the way in on my eyes. I just don't think it looks very good on me. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more of that corner shimmery color, and I'm just going to pop that on the inner corner. Just kind of right by the tear duct. I don't want to go overboard. Now we're going to go in with liner. I'm going to take my Wet n Wild brown liner pencil. This is not a YouTube made me buy it purchase. I want to just use this to prove to you guys that I can in fact think for myself. I'm kidding, but I've been using this thing for years. You guys know how much I love this. I'm just going to add a little bit of this to my upper waterline and a tiny bit to the outer corner, and then we'll get into mascara. For mascara today, I decided to go with this one. This is a two-part YouTube made me buy it. So this I definitely was influenced to buy after hearing Emily Noel talk very highly about this. Also Jessica Braun talked really highly about this a couple of years ago. And it has gone on to become one of my very favorite mascaras, and I am not someone that purchases a lot of high-end mascaras. So I'm going to go in with a couple of coats of this, and then I will zoom you guys out and we will finish off with the look. Alright guys, here are the finished eyes. Super happy with how this look turned out. Love this eyeshadow look. I think it is so pretty. But let's finish off with the lips. So the only lip liner that I really can remember attributing to a specific person making me buy it is ColourPop's Oh Snap, and this is a Samantha March made me buy it. I remember hearing her rave about this product, so I added it to my cart when I placed an order with ColourPop, and I have to say, it's a really great lip liner if you like a cooler toned nude lip. Now moving in to lipstick. So one of the people that influences me probably the most to buy lip products is Allie Glines, and one of the specific lip products that she has recommended that I absolutely love are the Almay Lip Vibes lipsticks, specifically this one in the color Worry Less. I love this color. It is such a beautiful, beautiful color. If you like a nice creamy formula, these are so beautiful. I will say though, these are so much cheaper if you can buy them at Walmart than if you buy them on Ulta's website. I want to say they're almost half the price they are from Ulta. You can get these for around $5 if you buy them at Walmart, or at least at my Walmart. But I know prices can vary a little bit from even Walmart to Walmart. But I love these lipsticks. They are just so comfortable and creamy and just beautiful. I want to pick up a couple more of these actually. Now for a lip gloss, this is a definite YouTube made me buy it because you guys may or may not know I don't typically like to spend a lot of money for lip gloss, but I did end up picking up the Fenty Gloss Bombs after a lot of different people recommended these. But two of the people I have to give credit for making me buy these are Andrea and also Jamie Page. They are two people that I've heard talk about these very highly, among others, but they're the ones I think that really sent me over the edge. And I just picked up the mini set during the holiday season. This one specifically is in the color Fussy. And I have to say, you guys, I love these lip glosses. I'm not usually a fan of spending a lot of money on lip gloss, but I can't deny that these are absolutely wonderful. Alright you guys, and with that, that is going to complete my full face of makeup products that YouTube made me buy. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun filming this one, and I was so surprised at how many off the top of my head I could specifically remember, yes, so-and-so made me buy that product. But that is kind of the blessing and the curse of YouTube beauty videos, right? We end up buying things that we may not love, but a lot of the things that we end up getting off of people's recommendations, at least for me, 9 times out of 10 they end up working out really well for me. So that is all I have for you guys today. I would love to know what products YouTube made you buy, and let me know if there are things that I made you buy, maybe that Wet n Wild pencil, but I don't feel guilty about that one because it is so cheap, even though probably a lot of you don't end up liking it as much as I do. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel today. One more reminder, if you have not yet subscribed, please do that before you leave. Also ring the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye. Lightning cable still around my neck. It's not a fashion statement. Am I the only one that has an older iPhone that has to be attached to its charger at all times? And then I just picked out a full for, oh good heavens, Mandy. And if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video, wait, did I say that backwards? We end up buying things that we no, that doesn't work. And that is kind of the blessing. Okay, I need a drink.